In a lush, verdant forest, beside a gentle, winding river, lived a crocodile named Makar. Makar was an old, wise crocodile with a large, scaly body and a mouth full of sharp teeth. His days were usually spent basking in the sun or floating lazily in the river, but today, something different was stirring within him. He had grown tired of his predictable life and yearned for a change. Not far from Makar's favorite spot, along the same river bank, lived a small, industrious crab named Karka. Karka was known throughout the forest for his tireless work ethic and cleverness. His burrowed home was always neat, and he spent most of his time gathering food and fortifying his little den. One sunny morning, Karka was busy polishing his shell when he noticed Makar lying on the river bank, staring pensively at the sky. Curious, Karka scuttled over to Makar and greeted him. "Good morning, Makar. You seem unusually quiet today. What's on your mind?" Karka asked with a friendly wave of his pincers. Makar sighed deeply and turned his head towards Karka. "Good morning, Karka. I've been thinking about how monotonous my life has become. Every day is the same, and I long for an adventure, something to shake things up a bit." Karka tilted his head, intrigued. "An adventure, you say? I've always believed that change and excitement come from within, but if you truly wish to explore, I may have an idea." Makar's eyes lit up with interest. "Really? What is it?" Karka's eyes sparkled with mischief. "There's a hidden treasure deep in the forest, beyond the great falls. It's said to be guarded by magical creatures and filled with wonders beyond imagination. If you're looking for an adventure, this could be it." Makar's interest was piqued. "That sounds exciting. But how do we reach this treasure?" Karka's antennae twitched. "The journey won't be easy. The path is fraught with challenges, and the Great Falls is treacherous. But with your strength and my cleverness, I believe we can make it." Makar's scales gleamed with determination. "Very well, Karka. I'm ready for this adventure. Let's set out at dawn tomorrow." Karka nodded, pleased. "Agreed. I'll prepare for our journey and make sure we have everything we need." The next morning, as the first light of dawn painted the sky, Makar and Karka set off on their adventure. Makar plodded through the shallow waters, while Karka scuttled alongside him on the river bank. They ventured deeper into the forest, the promise of treasure guiding their way. After a day of traveling, the duo reached the base of the Great Falls, a towering cascade of water that roared and crashed down into the river below. The sound was deafening, and the mist created a veil of fog that obscured their view. Karka climbed onto a rock and surveyed the scene. "The falls are formidable. We need to find a way to cross them. There must be a safe path or a bridge." Makar looked around and spotted a series of large, moss-covered stones jutting out of the water, forming a precarious path across the river. "Those stones might be our way across. It looks risky, but it's our best option." Karka nodded, his pincers clicking with determination. "We'll have to be very careful. One wrong move, and we could be swept away by the current." With Makar leading the way, the two adventurers made their way across the slippery stones. Makar used his powerful limbs to steady himself and Karka, while Karka scuttled cautiously, testing each stone before moving on. Despite the danger, they made it safely to the other side. Makar and Karka looked back at the Great Falls with relief and awe. "Great job, Karka," Makar said, admiring his companion's bravery. "We made it across." Karka beamed with pride. "We couldn't have done it without your strength, Makar. Let's continue. The treasure awaits." As they ventured further into the forest, they encountered an enchanted part of the woods. The trees were tall and ancient, their branches forming a dense canopy overhead. Strange, glowing fungi illuminated the path, casting an airy light. Karka's eyes darted around, taking in the magical surroundings. This place feels otherworldly. We must be getting close to the treasure. Suddenly, a low growl echoed through the forest. From behind a tree, a pair of glowing eyes emerged, followed by a massive, mystical beast with a lion's body and the wings of an eagle. The creature roared, shaking the ground with its mighty voice. Karka froze in fear, but Makar stepped forward, unfazed. We must face this guardian if we want to continue our journey. The beast eyed them both, its gaze sharp and calculating. Who dares to enter my domain? It boomed. We seek the hidden treasure. Makar declared boldly. We come in peace and wish only to prove our worth. The beast's eyes softened slightly. To prove your worth, you must answer a riddle. Solve it, and I will allow you to pass. Fail, and you will be turned to stone. Karka whispered to Makar, we must be clever. Let's listen carefully and think of the answer. The beast's voice rang out with the riddle. I have cities, but no houses. I have mountains, but no trees. I have water, but no fish. What am I? Karka's mind raced. He remembered reading about riddles in old forest lore. It's a map. Karka exclaimed. The beast's eyes twinkled with approval. You have answered correctly. You may pass. Makar and Karka breathed a sigh of relief and continued through the enchanted forest, their spirits buoyed by their success. Their journey led them to a small, forgotten village hidden among the trees. The village appeared abandoned, with overgrown vegetation and crumbling buildings. But as they explored, they discovered that the village was inhabited by friendly, talking animals who welcomed them warmly. An old tortoise named Tara approached them. Welcome, travelers. We've heard of your quest. The treasure you seek lies beyond the mystic lake, but it is protected by powerful enchantments. Karka thanked Tara. We appreciate your guidance. How can we safely reach the mystic lake? Tara's wise eyes twinkled. To reach the lake, you must cross the Whispering Marsh. The marsh is filled with illusions that can lead you astray. Only by staying true to your path and trusting each other will you succeed. Makar and Karka nodded, grateful for the advice. They bid farewell to the village and set off towards the Whispering Marsh. The Whispering Marsh was a treacherous, fog-covered swamp. The ground was soft and uneven, and the air was filled with disorienting whispers and strange sounds. Karka and Makar had to stay focused to avoid being led astray by the illusions. Karka clung to Makar's side, his claws digging into the soft ground. We must stick together and be cautious. The whispers are meant to confuse us. Makar's sharp eyes scanned the marsh for any signs of danger. We can do this, Karka. Just remember the advice we were given. As they navigated through the marsh, the illusions grew more vivid, showing them tempting visions of easy paths and shortcuts. But with each step, they reminded themselves of their goal and continued onward. After hours of careful maneuvering, they emerged from the marsh, exhausted but triumphant. The mystic lake lay ahead, its waters shimmering under the light of the setting sun. The mystic lake was a beautiful, serene body of water surrounded by lush vegetation. At its center was a small island with a single, ancient tree that seemed to glow with a magical light. Karka and Makar approached the lake, where a boat made of woven reeds awaited them. They climbed into the boat and began their journey across the lake. As they neared the island, they encountered a final guardian, a wise old serpent with glittering scales. Welcome, travelers, the serpent said in a soothing voice. To claim the treasure, you must demonstrate the virtues you've shown on your journey: bravery, cleverness, and friendship. Makar and Karka looked at each other, understanding the importance of their actions. They spoke of their adventures, their trials, and how they had supported each other through every challenge. The serpent nodded approvingly. You have proven yourselves worthy. the treasure is yours. The ancient tree on the island began to glow even brighter, and a hidden compartment opened to reveal a chest filled with golden coins, precious gems, and artifacts. But among the riches was a simple scroll with a message: true treasure lies in the journey and the bonds you forged. With the treasure in hand, Makar and Karka made their way back to their homes. They returned to their respective lives, but their adventure had changed them forever. Makar was no longer just a crocodile by the river, he was now a hero with stories to tell. Karka had proven his cleverness and bravery, earning respect and admiration from all. The two friends met often, sharing their stories and reminiscing about their journey. They had learned that the real value of their quest was not in the treasure they found, but in the courage, wisdom, and friendship they had gained. And so, Makar and Karka continued their lives with a new sense of purpose and fulfillment, always ready for the next adventure that life might bring. If you like the story, then subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories.